Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Actually, Mr. Manager. Hello, you beautiful retards. Today we're going to be reacting to 4 airport horror stories. Shout out to Mr. Nightmare. He's really good at these horror story stuff. And let's just get started. Sorry, I forgot to do shout outs. Shout out to Jordan Gomez Vlogs and Sparrow17. Sorry for that. Just gonna get right into the video.
I don't make videos.
The summer of 2007, when I was 10 years old, the family and I had a trip to Disneyland planned. Our flight was booked for midnight on a Tuesday to save money, and my mom figured my sisters and I would sleep through the flight. My sisters were 8 and 5 at the time. The gatehouse was for the most part empty as we waited for our flight. My mom went to go to the bathroom with my youngest sister, and a minute later my dad told me to wait there and watch my other sister while he went to get a last-minute bite to eat at the cafe, as a middle-aged woman came and sat next to us. She put her hand on my back as she acted all excited to see us and asked where our parents were. I told her they would be right back. Then a middle-aged man came over as well and started acting just as bubbly and affectionate towards us as if he knew us. The man then proclaimed that he just ran into my dad at the cafe and finally introduced himself and the woman as our dad's cousins. My sister and I looked at each other and we both said hello really shyly. The man reached out his hand for my sister to grab, while the woman reached out her hand for me to grab. They told us to follow them because they weren't...
Sorry to pause this video. There might be a little bit of audio in the background. Right now, we're living in a house with 16 people, so you gotta expect that all of the audio in the background. We're trying so hard to keep it quiet, so I just need you guys to respect the fact that we're living with 16 people. We're living with 16 people, and it's not gonna be very quiet.
...us to meet their kids. My sister and I naively got up, took their hands, and followed them. The two started leading us out of the gatehouse, past the cafe, down the stairs, and towards the lobby of the airport. When I realized they were leading us to the entrance of the airport, towards the parking lot, I finally asked, "Where are we going?" The woman looked at me through her thick-framed glasses, and with her cheeky smile, said their kids were outside by the car.
You guys know what that reminds me of?
What?
Anime.
As we walked outside into the dark parking lot, I looked at my sister and became really uncomfortable. I broke my hand free from the woman and said we wanted to go back inside, while also taking my sister's hand from the man's. I noticed the two looked at each other, their cheeky smiles both gone. The man turned quickly to us and then aggressively wrapped his arms around me as the woman did the same to my sister. They started to literally carry us closer to the parking lot as me and my sister screamed. We heard yelling in the distance from two men who turned out...
She was like, "You better stop!"
Oh, you better stop.
What the fudge? Never mind. Just kidding. I did that on purpose.
...to be airport security. The crazed pair let us go and ran quicker than I'd ever seen anyone run, quickly disappearing into the parking lot. One of the men chased them down, or at least tried to, while the other talked with us for a bit, then led us back into the airport, back to our parents and other sister. It had only been a few minutes and my mom was already sobbing like a baby. Being that I was so young makes this a really weird and uncomfortable memory to think about. It's also weird to think that I didn't see any red flags go off when the two didn't give us their names.
Any comments about the first story?
Why didn't they call it? Were they like police?
Yeah, they were police. They could have shot him down on their feet or something. At least the guy, not the girl, because we kind of messed up. I think that they shouldn't have went with them first of all.
No, it's just could have tased them.
Yeah, I think that they shouldn't have went with them first of all.
They should have just They just should have ride it out with the car.
Yeah.
It was was minutes before boarding my flight to North Carolina for a job interview the next day. It was on a stormy February night. Everyone was bundled up and keeping to themselves. I was sitting in the terminal room waiting for my flight to be called. It wasn't going to be a very busy flight because there weren't many people in the waiting area. Someone sat down 2 seats away from me, which wasn't too weird itself, but also was a bit annoying considering most of the seats were open. But it went from annoying to downright disturbing when I looked at him to see him weirdly staring at me. I looked away and pretended not to care, but I could tell he was still looking at me. Then he leaned over to me and whispered close to my ear that the 2 men sitting a row across from me were going on the same plane and were planning on kidnapping me once we landed in North Carolina. I didn't know what to say other than, what? The heavy man then got up and walked away. At the same time my flight was called, and I nervously boarded the plane while paying attention to the 2 men. They sat down ahead of me, and as I walked past them approaching my seat, they both stared me down. At that moment, I started to wonder if that man's warning were true.
That's how it was in the plane.
A few hours later, we arrived to NC, and on my way out of the plane...
Sorry about that, guys. I dropped the phone.
Dropped the phone.
And leaving the airport, I cautiously looked around trying to spot the 2 men. When I was finally outside in the dark, cold parking lot, I spotted them. The 2 men were peering their heads at me from around a red minivan, and I guess when they saw me looking in their direction, they hid behind the van. I walked back inside of the airport, waited half an hour, called for a taxi, waited for it to pull up front, and rode to my hotel. So many questions. I don't know who that man was who warned me. I don't know how he knew of those other 2 men, and I have no idea what they were planning on doing to me, if they were actually looking to kidnap me. So this happened a few months ago. I'm 26. I was at JFK Airport in New York with 5 friends. All of us were about to fly down to Florida to spend the week in a beach house. We had a few more minutes to kill in the airport before we would board our flight, and I really had to go to the bathroom all of a sudden. I was baffled to see a line out the door for the bathroom. I noticed a janitor walking by, so I asked her if there was another bathroom nearby that wouldn't be so crowded. She laughed and told me she shouldn't really be telling people, but there was another bathroom past the door she was pointing at, down a narrow flight of stairs and to the left. I thanked her because she was extremely nice and followed the direction she gave me. Sure enough, behind that door that no one would think to open was a small stairway that led down to a really poorly lit, skinny hallway. It was so narrow that if 2 people were to pass by each other, one person would have to stand against the wall to make room.
Sorry guys for that audio for
I found the bathroom right away. The door was extremely heavy and hard to push. Also, the lights were on inside of the bathroom, and it was filthy in there. It was evident that nobody ever really came in there to clean. Now, this is a little embarrassing to mention, but when I go to the bathroom in public places, I always try to make sure nobody else is around to possibly hear me going. So after checking the stall to see that it was unoccupied, I went back into the hallway for a second to take a look down both directions. To the left, there was somebody...
So I gotta have to pause it because the quality just went away.
Sorry for the loud audio back there.
I'm just gonna end the video right here, guys. We'll take it to a part 2.
Continue it soon. Hope you enjoy. Bye, guys.